What are you guys?
Well, we've been called ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
There's someone here that would like to talk to you.
There's something horrible happening in my house.
Well, Simon, I think you'd be very proud of me. I actually went to see The Conjuring by myself. I was very brave.
You were very brave because the last time you went to see a horror film, it was Dark Skies.
God damn. Just brave enough to, dip my toe back in the shitty horror water.
Yeah.
But no, actually, it was quite the opposite. The Conjuring is actually that rarest of beasts in that it's actually a pretty damn good horror movie, it's a cinematic safari that I often come away empty-handed. I mean, I can't remember the last really good horror film I watched. Probably off the top of my head, I might even be going so far as saying The Descent was like the last really good horror movie.
Was awesome.
It's so good, and nothing really comes to mind in recent years. Insidious was pretty good, which is ironic because that comes from James Wan, the director of this as well. It wasn't amazing.
Well, if you think The Descent was 2005, and then I love the original Saw, and one or two of the sequels are good, but
yeah,
this is like a nice original.
I wouldn't even say that the original Saw is so much a horror.
It's more of a thriller, isn't it? The original one.
It's a really violent thriller, really, and saying that to say it's really violent, it ain't too bad. I think
it's gory as fuck, Ben.
But the first Saw,
yeah,
is it?
Yeah, he chops his own leg off with a hacksaw.
You don't see anything though.
Oh, he still fucking does it.
Yeah, yeah. I think Saw went worse as it went on.
There's peaks and troughs. I think
I always thought Saw 1 was like a really cool thriller with a good twist ending, and then Saw 2 I was thinking, it's going to be a shitty cash-in sequel, and that actually surprised me with its twist. Yeah. And then by the time Saw 3 came out,
Saw 3 was a train wreck.
Well, they were like, oh, we've run out of ideas, let's just throw violence and gore on the screen, and it just kind of spiraled off from there. But
6 was good. If you hadn't seen 6.
I can't even remember which ones I've seen.
6 was the one with, it was like standalone compared to the rest of them.
Is it the one more about the health care?
Yeah, with like health insurance and stuff.
I have seen that one. I can't remember fucking anything about it, but I do remember hearing and remember thinking it's probably one of the better later ones.
Yeah. 1, 2 and 6 are good.
Yeah.
But then, nothing original, not for a while, and I'm not a transcriber to even the original Paranormal Activity.
No. But I mean, James Wan, who did The Conjuring and started Saw, he had nothing to do with Saw after. Or maybe he had like producer credits or anything.
Yeah.
But he certainly didn't direct any other than the original. He kind of started moving on to more kind of traditional horror films, I suppose, more ghost stories and things like that. And Insidious was he kind of maybe he had a few after Saw, like what's it called, Silence, Dead Silence. A few other things, but it wasn't really until Insidious where he started kind of making waves again as a director. And Insidious was cool because it was very different to Saw. It was very much a ghost film, a jumpy ghost film with kind of spooky demons appearing in front of people and scaring the shit out of them and then disappearing. And it was all right. But The Conjuring again is kind of still going down that track. It's a ghost story. It isn't a monster story or anything like that, but it goes further into that kind of paranormal activity. Well, I don't mean paranormal activity as in the franchise, I mean just as in the general thing. It goes in that paranormal area. This film feels more akin to something like Poltergeist than it does Insidious, and which is quite good because it makes it different from his previous film. And I got to say that
like Insidious, was a stepping stone in this direction from Saw.
Yeah, possibly.
By the time you've gotten to this film, it's less of a thriller, less of a horror, and more of a chilling ghost story, and it's like period as well. It's like almost completely different, but
yeah, it is very different, and I think for my money at least, this is probably his strongest film. Overall, I think I enjoy this more than the original Saw. Maybe because I probably enjoy ghost films more than torture porn.
Yeah,
But
possibly.
I really had a good time with this film. I thought it was great. So yeah, the general storyline is that it's following. It's very loosely based. The first thing it tells you is this is based on true events. Now I'm going to say this is fucking very loosely based on true events.
Because
And
ghosts aren't real.
possibly, but the people who are in this are.
Yes.
The film even goes so far as to show you pictures of them at the end of the movie, including the family that they're surrounded. Because really, the main characters are a couple called Lorraine and Ed Warren, who are pretty much this kind of. This couple who's an expert, they're experts at going and investigating paranormal activity and sorting ghosts out and getting rid of them and helping people. And they're very well respected. They do a lot of, they make their money by going around doing lectures at universities, and universities pay them. They're very, very prominent in the field. They're even incredibly well respected by the church, and the church often get them in to help with exorcisms or things of strange natures to do with religion. And they're very well respected. And Ed Warren is played by Patrick Wilson, who I probably would imagine knows James Wan, the director, from Insidious, because he was pretty much the main character in Insidious. And Ed Warren is very much the kind of the front man. He's always dressed in these really stylish kind of 60s, 70s suits. He's very well groomed. He's incredibly confident. He's the front man. He's the business guy who gets things done. And then you've got his wife, Lorraine, who's played by Vera Farmiga, who I really like Vera Farmiga. She's not in enough stuff, but when she's
No, she's not. You know what? You can say that about the whole cast of this. That because Patrick Wilson's not in enough stuff.
I like Patrick Wilson.
I love
really
Patrick
do.
Wilson.
I've never
He's
seen him
badass.
in a film that I thought, oh, he was bad. He's always a highlight for a film that I see him in. I fucking really like him as Night Owl.
I love him as Night Owl. I like him as Lynch in The A-Team. He just plays such an arsehole.
Oh, god damn, yeah. But yeah, Vera Farmiga's in this, and she's Lorraine. And Lorraine is, she's said to be a medium, and a pretty damn powerful one at that. And she basically, while Ed is the front man, she's basically the engine that drives the couple. You know, she's their link to the spirit world, as it were, the paranormal world. And they go around and... the story kicks off with them giving a lecture in a university, and it just to establish who they are and what they're about. They're basically giving a university lecture about this case they had where there's this doll that is possessed, and essentially the story is that these two nurses approach them when this doll starts making their lives hell. And basically these two nurses live in a flat. I think it's in New York or something like that. It's basically in a city. They live in a flat. When they moved in there was this doll left in the house. Now, when they basically thought, the previous owners left it there, that's no problem. But things start going strange, so they get they want to say a medium off the high street, and this medium said, "Oh yes, this doll is actually it's not so much possessed, but it's linked to the spirit of a young girl who used to own it, who lived in this flat." And she's just lonely and wants to communicate with you through the doll. And so basically the nurses, being young girls who just want to be nice to this spirit of a little girl, invite basically the spirit to live with them and share the flat with them as long as it doesn't start fucking stuff up. Of course, things progressively get weirder and weirder with the doll really starting to do some fucked up things. And now, this doll is the scariest looking fucking doll I've ever seen. It is creepy as shit. It is like, as soon as you see it, it's like, oh god, I don't give a shit if that's possessed or not. It's fucking going. I've actually seen the real doll that was like of the real case, because this is, as I say, this is all based on true events. And the real doll is like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Right.
It's nothing. It's like a cloth and stuffing doll. It's really cute, in fact. But this fucking doll, Jesus Christ,
I'm gonna Google it.
It's like the most fucked up ventriloquist doll with a wig put on it.
Oh my god.
It's horrendous. It's
hideous.
Yeah. And
It's like a Doctor Who baddie.
Yeah,
But
it's
Doctor Who on crack.
Oh god, yeah. That doll looks like it's on crack. It's fucking awful. And yeah, basically, when this doll starts causing all sorts of shit for these nurses, they approach the Warrens to sort it out, because they are legitimate, experts on this type of thing. And they go in and straight away they're like, look, the medium fucked you up, man. There ain't no little girl. This sounds very much like a demon, and this demon's now fucking with you. And the fact that you invited them in, that's probably the worst thing you could have done, because now he's latched onto you, and you're not going to get away from him until we sort it out. And it basically it kind of establishes, they're not like fruits. They approach this as scientifically as possible. It looks like
At any point, did anyone go, shit? Because that's all I was imagining while you were saying, no, this is much worse than you think.
No, but I think that's probably because everybody was white in this situation. It might have been different.
Yeah, it
if
was the
was
70s though. I don't
Yeah.
know I don't know what that was like.
But yeah, it just basically establishes, these are guys who know what they're doing, that they mean business and they know how to fix things because it basically says that they managed to help the girls and get rid of the spirit from them. But basically, the meat of this film is essentially focusing on the Perrin family. Ron Livingston plays Roger Perrin, who's the father of this family, and Lily Taylor plays Carolyn Perrin. Ron Livingston, most famous for Office Space.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so in terms of the broader stretch. But I think a lot of people know him these days from Band of Brothers.
Oh shit! Yeah, I always forget he's in Band of Brothers. Yeah,
He's another guy that needs to be in more.
exactly. Yeah, I like
Halo
that.
Reach.
Is he? What, is he?
He's one of the Marines that calls for help in level 1. When you got to go and defend the outpost.
Wow, damn, that is a very obscure reference. Damn, but Lily Taylor as well, who plays the mother of the family. I know her in a lot of stuff. In fact, what I know her primarily from is another ghost film, The Haunting, with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Owen Wilson before the two, and Liam Neeson actually before anybody was particularly famous.
I've not seen that.
Oh, that was like. It's only a 12A, and it's not very scary, to be honest, but it was like the first kind of ghost film I saw as a kid.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of stuck with me, but it's okay. It's all right. But I know
I
her.
thought putting Owen Wilson in a ghost story was good. Is he good in it?
He's not in it like a tremendous amount. He's probably out of the four. He's probably in it the least. He's like this kind. He's Owen Wilson, He's
Is it like with the guy when he plays in Armageddon? He has 2 lines and then his spaceship gets blown up.
Pretty much. He's in a bit more than that because there is only like 4 people in for the majority of the film, but he's probably in it the least out of the 4 of them. Probably because he was the fact that Lily Taylor's probably the least known out of all them actors, but she was the main character of The Haunting.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so I know Lily Taylor. It's nice to see her back getting fucked over by ghosts. And then basically, this is a family of girls. There's 5 girls, and they seem to range from like about 16 all the way down to something like 5. They've got the whole age range there. And they move into this big, lovely house. They've moved into the area. I can't remember exactly where it is. I think it's kind of like the north, the West Coast area, like New York or New England or something like that, and they basically moved into the middle of the countryside to get away from the city and bring up the girls in this nice house. And very, very quickly things start to get very, very strange.
Can I stop you there and ask you a question about the plot?
Yeah.
I'm just on IMDb, and under plot keywords, I think 4th along is blood vomiting. Is that a key? Is that key to the plot?
Kind of. I can kind of see why it's there, but it's.
I'll read out the top 5 things and just tell me if they're applicable. Paranormal investigator.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
Seems legit. Rhode Island.
Well, that must be where it's all set. Yeah, it must be in Rhode Island. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but yeah.
Upside down camera shot. Is that pivotal to the plot?
Not the plot. Maybe maybe it's a thing that's used in the film a lot.
Ghost in mirror.
Not tremendously.
And then blood vomiting. Okay.
Blood vomiting is kind of key to the film, but it doesn't happen a lot.
Right. Go on. Go on.
But basically, yeah, the parents move into this house. Things start getting weirder and weirder. They discover upon moving in, they discover a basement that nobody knew was there and was kind of boxed off. And when they go in, there's all sorts of weird antiques. Every night, if like something like 3:05 in the morning, all the clocks in the house stop for no apparent reason every night, and things just kind of start escalating more and more until they get to the point where they've got to call the Warrens in to investigate this, and straight away, Vera Farmiga's character Lorraine is just like, some fucking stuff went up here. This house is really fucking haunted. It's like the worst thing they've ever seen. She says basically there's a lot of ghosts in this. It's not just one. There's like a family of ghosts. There's about 4 or 5 of them just all dotting about doing different things. But there's one in particular which is like the driving force behind the haunting. And it's not so much a ghost as it's like this almost demonic force. And basically, as I say, it's very much like Poltergeist in that respect, where the film kind of progresses on where the Warrens are investigating and trying to get to the bottom of this and trying to drive the spirits out to help the family. And, obviously the Warrens have spent a lot of time with the parents and they kind of get to know each other a bit more. There's a bit that human side. And as I say, nothing in this film is particularly, revolutionary or anything like that. It's just, it does it all very, very well. And one thing I really liked about this film is that the plot stays firmly grounded in, as far as in reality as you can base a ghost film. It isn't like Poltergeist or Insidious, for that matter, where you end up in the ghost world, in the underworld, trying to track somebody down who's been stolen or anything like that. It's all set in the normal world. Things do start escalating towards the end, but it's nothing outrageous. And I just really like that. The storyline doesn't run away with this film, which is what a lot of horror films tend to do. They try to give too much plot, and then as things go on, the scares get diluted, and the atmosphere gets diluted, but this never does. This film is just pure atmosphere from beginning to end, and it creates that atmosphere through practical effects and old school camera tricks. I mean, this film's set in the early 70s, and just looking at the film, it feels like it could have been made in the 70s. It's got that kind of slightly washed out look that something like The Omen has. There's not really any CGI in this movie. I think there's one case of CGI, and it's perfectly excusable. In fact, it's very, very good use of CGI because it's used to enhance the scene and then do something a bit shocking. But I say a bit shocking, this film actually steers away from jump shocks on the whole. It's far more about building atmosphere and racking up the tension and making the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. And I loved it. I had a really, really good time with this film. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are great as the Warrens, and as a couple they have great chemistry. I really like them. In fact, they are already going to make a second one, a Conjuring 2, because the Warrens have a lot of cases that you can kind of go and investigate. I mean, these are the guys who were actually involved with the Amityville horror.
Well, you could probably remake that film from like the actual real perspective.
Yeah, and it would probably be a hell of a lot better than the Ryan Reynolds version?
Yes, right. No, was that one?
Well, there was the old 70s version, and then there was a remake. Wasn't Ryan Reynolds in the remake?
I can't remember. Ryan Reynolds has been in a horror film. I couldn't tell you which one it was.
I think it might be the Amityville horror. I'm not sure. I can't remember. It wasn't very good, to be honest.
Yes, he was in that.
Yeah. But yeah, you could do all sorts of stuff. So as
I love Patrick Wilson, so I'd pay it. Like, I really want to see this movie.
Honestly, it's really good. And I went by myself, but I think if you were with friends, you'd have a really good time because you could kind of be jumping together and you could have a laugh about it afterwards, and it would be a lot of fun. It's just that it's a really good, really, really solid haunted house movie that never gets stupid with the plot. The characters never do that thing that Dark Skies did, where they do stupid shit for the sake of moving the plot in a certain direction. Everything feels quite natural and a normal progression, and people react in ways that you think, well, shit, I would act in the exact same way.
That's the worst thing about horror films.
Oh, I know. God damn, that ending the Dark Skies, man. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I know. I was just thinking about that.
Well, the thing is, in this film, I don't want to give it away, but like there is a big climax that is way much better than the one in Dark Skies. But despite things escalating, things never get daft. It's always fairly, all right, shit, this is probably what would happen in this situation. It's not just like people, let's stick together, oh, we're separated all of a sudden. It all feels fairly coherent and natural, and that's what I really liked about this. But one thing I did like about this film, as I say, it avoids jump scares, but it does harken back to old school kind of horror movie techniques. Now, there's not a lot of ghosts in this film, really. They're very, very used minimal, like actually seeing ghosts, but there's all sorts of creepy shit going on. Like, there's one bit where, as things are kind of in their early stages, where one of the young girls, is getting her feet grabbed in her sleep, and she keeps blaming the sister who she's sharing the room with. And after this happens a few nights, like on the third occasion, she wakes up, and she's like looking across the room, and the door's kind of open back on itself, and the shadow behind the door, and she stared at that shadow, terrified, and she wakes her sister up and says, look, there's somebody standing there, and you kind of look in there going, I can't see anything, but it kind of looks like there might be something there, and there ain't nothing there, but it's a great use. It kind of makes you think and makes you really look, and you're just waiting for something to kind of jump out at you, but it never does. And it keeps that kind of tension of, is there something there, is there not, is what's going to jump out at me for so long. It's very, very effective.
Well, that's the traditional way of making a horror film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It lets your imagination run with you far more than throwing stupid monsters at you, or stupid kind of ghosts and stuff at you that are kind of ineffectual because they use too much. When the ghosts do appear, it is creepy because you don't know really what they're gonna do or really who they are. And, you know, you don't really know how... things are already tense as shit and creepy as shit. Now that they're finally here, what the fuck's going to happen? You know, you really kept on the edge of your seat. And, yeah, it's just really good. I thought this was one of the better horror films I've seen in so long. And that itself almost bumps it up some rating because it's a refreshing change from the mediocre shit that perpetrates this genre. I'm very much looking forward to the sequel.
Well, talking of that, I've just been reading the trivia on IMDb, and if you can harken your mind back to the end of the film when Lorraine gets a phone call.
Oh, God. Is it like a post-credit stinger or something?
It doesn't say it is, but she gets off the phone and she says that a priest wants to discuss a case with them in Long Island.
All right, yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. So that's it's kind of wrapping up.
That is the Amityville case.
All right, okay.
Maybe they do have plans for the future.
Possibly. I mean, I think it's probably one of their more high-profile cases. I was looking on their Wikipedia page, actually, before we came on here, and they did stuff like a demonic murderer case where some guy was going out killing people and said, "Oh, a demon made me do it." They worked on a werewolf demon case. They've got quite a few kind of apparently high-profile cases, and you could adapt any one of them, I suppose, into a decent film, as long as it keeps the filmmaking style that this one did, and doesn't kind of start throwing stupid CGI at the screen. But for the most part, I thought this was really good. It's very, very creepy. It's a 15 certificate, and there's so little violence, so little swearing, and absolutely zero sex that it earns its adult certificate just based on how scary it is and how creepy it is. And,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gotta say that's a bit of an achievement in my eyes. I really, really like this film, and I think probably that's I liked it so much that I'm going to give this an A.
Awesome.
So yeah,
I really want to see it. Because I love period films as well.
It's a lot scarier. This very much feels like it's rooted in the kind of that early 70s. All the costumes are really cool. I guess Patrick
Wilson's hair.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson, man, he looks awesome. He's like proper dapper, really period dapper. He's awesome. But that this film is a really solid A. If you're in the mood for a good horror film or good ghost film, then you're not going to go far wrong with this. There's very, very little to dislike about it with regards to what it tries to do. And I've got to say, I really do like James Wan. He's impressive. He seems to be trying to hone his art as a horror director. He seems to be getting better and better as he goes on, or at least trying new things. He's not resting on his laurels.
Well, we do have Insidious 2 coming out, and then you say The Conjuring 2, but he's also doing Fast and the Furious 7, which is a...
Yeah, man, let's get some ghost races.
Well, they keep adding new stuff to the franchise.
Well...
It's not the same film it was when it started, this series.
It's not, but I think it's pretty well known now that Jason Statham's going to be the villain in Fast and the Furious 7.
Yeah.
Because he was in a post-credit stinger of 6. But imagine at the end of 7... he has to team up with like Vin Diesel and The Rock and Paul Walker to take on ghosts.
Yeah, that would be just mint.
I think that's how Fast and the Furious 7 should go.
Yeah.
We have to get out of here.
That's not gonna help.
This thing has latched itself to your family.
Father, we never seen nothing like this.
I'm coming with you.
No way. I can't lose you.
There's a lady in a dirty nightgown that I see in my dreams. She's standing in front of my mom's bed. Do you want to see him?
Yeah?
When the music stops, you see him in the mirror standing behind you.